you, Vladimir. So from BIM we move to digital twins. So welcome Ivan about presenting about transforming live IoT data into actionable information for asset management via digital twins.
Thank you. That's also a very long title, also because it was built in collaboration, like the last paper. I guess that's what happens to everything. But yeah, let's say we have a building where, since the IoT now is, not even now, but for some time, is a big thing, people just install sensors in the rooms, in the public buildings, offices, educational spaces, malls, and then they end up having these sensors set up for themselves, for their legal task, and then they also give an access to asset manager to get the whole picture, and he ends up having a mess of data that they can't work with. For that, it is usually accepted to employ a black box, a digital twin, to somehow format and visualize this data and end up having a proper, I had to add a green leaf to make it more sustainable, but a proper sustainable asset management, to make it, to make these laws of data actionable, to be able to make some decisions based on it. So how to do it? What's the steps of building this black box? We took as a weapon the ISO 30273, which is a long and nice standard, and we tried to compare approaches between what was done by us in Politecnico di Milano and what was done by the University of Applied Sciences and Arts in southern Switzerland. So yeah, let's jump to it. The implementation that we did was basically, yeah, we have a building in the campus and a lot of sensors, and then when I was installing yet another sensor, when I only started the PhD, I built an edge node that was collecting the occupancy and the indoor environmental quality data in the room. And then I understood that, well, all right, we can visualize just that, and there is no common window to see everything. So we used this edge node, which is basically Raspberry Pi, connected it to the Ethernet connection to the LAN of the building, and started pulling the data from all the other legacy installed sensors that were already in the building. The problems were that since all the sensors were installed by different people going for different goals, the data sources were heterogeneous, super variable. It was not just one influx database, it was everything. So yeah, we decided to go and pull each of the sensors and then group it up in an influx database together with Postgres, just if it's not a time series data. And then we reformatted this data in a nice format that's supported by Autodesk proprietary software called Tandem, which is free, like freemium, let's say, and visualized it there. When the approach of SUPSI was a bit more, let's say, systematic, they have started building their digital twin from design, not from just doing something with whatever you already have. So they designed one entry point, and then using the IFC model as the 3D model, and the third pillar, the analytics layer, they streamed all the data to Power BI, which is another proprietary software, which does not support BIM out of the box, so they had to find and install some plugins for it. How did it end up? Well, visualization, something that is actually useful for anyone, because the data itself is useless. That's what we ended up having. That's the interface of Tandem, with all the rooms data being shown with a nice heat maps, color maps. So the occupants could access it and see what's happening. If the room is underventilated, overventilated, we mostly focus on environmental quality, or overheated or overcrowded. And this is how the approach of SUPSI looks. That's the mock-up of their thing. The good difference, the thing that we lack, is that we can only show at least for now, we can only show the current situation and the, let's say 2 weeks ago, the historical data. But they predict the data for the future periods. So I would say that this first approach is more focused on the occupants themselves, who can just make some decisions based on what is happening now. And that, on the right, is more helpful for an asset manager to plan some kind of interventions and manage the building. That's a silly little table to compare these two approaches. That's basically how it's done. It's either you go step after step and you focus on what's happening now, or you focus on what's happening in the future and you plan before. So yeah, the occupant focus against the facility and optimization focus. In terms of technology, well, the backend was pretty much the same, but the approach when you design things first is more scalable and standardized, of course. But when you don't design things at first, you are more open to just connect a new data source if it's somehow appears. So you don't need to. There's no difficulties of updating of adding a new sensor or a new set of sensors because you don't have any system. So the decisions are also then can be made only mostly on a micro level in this first approach, and on the macro level for the second approach. If there's one thing, when I made this next slide, I was like, I'm selling it too much. But if there's one thing that can be a takeaway, is that yeah, the digital twin can be built step after the step using and it's cheap, it's basically free. The only thing you spend is the time of your PhD student or somebody else. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Very efficient in time. I see already 2 hands. I don't know who was first, but yes.
Thank you for the presentation. And actually, I don't agree that it's very simple to go for digital twin and asset management. It's very complicated. Maybe it looks simple when you talk about it, but when you implement it, it's very complicated. Actually, I just have a question on the difference on what you show here with the 2 systems or the 2 platforms and current commercial building management systems, where you are able to see the data and then look at the different profiles and the time series and so on. So how would you see the difference between these solutions or these platforms and current building management system platforms?
As long as you go to the full commercial solution, you lose the control of your own data, which happened a lot. I'm from Russia, which happened a lot in my country when everything started. So I don't support the approach of just giving all the control, especially the data control, to the commercial solution. As long as you keep it to yourself and make it more and more private, more and more for yourselves, it's just safer for your own data.
Thank you for your presentation. It was really insightful. But my question is it's not technical, it's a bit philosophical. So when we talk about this digital twin, is it in the operation phase it's being implemented?
Yeah, in our case, it's just the operation phase.
Right.
It would be cool to have, to maybe be able to feed the documentation from the construction phase and make the operation phase smarter based on that, but it's not been done. But yeah, in these cases, these digital twins are used for the management of something that's already in use. Yeah.
So the information is handed over from the contractor, like you get the information from the contractor, and then based on that you create the digital twin that is.
The common practice is that from the contractor you just get a paper saying that he gave you the building, and then you have to restart everything. Yeah.
That's the problem.
questions? We have one coming here.
Thank you very much for your presentation. As far as I understand, the definition of a digital twin is that the digital part or the physical part influences the digital part, and based on that, the digital part automatically takes also action. And I think you had it on the previous slide before, so you showed that the SUPSI has this prediction of specific things. Is it envisioned that you automatically do action? Because I guess for every single room, the facility manager or the asset manager will not take actions, but it should be like.
But yeah, the proper digital twin is the twin that not only. So the digital twin without the actuator is sometimes called digital shadow, where you don't control. And none of us actually does have any actuators in our systems. Yeah. The thing is that as long as you leave, you can't really ask asset manager to tackle every room or every occupant's wish or anything. So yeah, having the prediction is nice, but none of this is actually a digital twin in a proper standardized definition. That's what happens everywhere. It's the future steps all the time.
Another question? And maybe I can ask one last question, which is shown here in auto visualization. As you said, data needs to be visualized to the user, right? Did you ask somebody as a user which one they understand better or how it becomes useful for them?
In our case, it depended who you asked. Like if you asked the people from Switzerland, they chose the right one. If the Italians, they chose the left one. I guess there has to be some kind of survey to properly understand this.
Thank you very much. Then we will move on to our next presentation.